Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are studying A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. It tells us how beauty gives us eternal joy, peace, and inspiration. Let's begin the poem. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases, it will never pass into nothingness. So, in these lines, the poet tells us that a thing of beauty, is a joy forever. That means if a thing is beautiful in true sense, if a truly beautiful thing is there, then it is a constant source of joy. Okay, its loveliness increases. That means it becomes lovely, more and more lovely over time. It does not lose its charm. In fact, it increases its charm. It will never pass into nothingness. Nothingness means it never fades its beauty, it never loses its charm. Okay, so the poet says that a truly beautiful thing gives us constant joy and constant calmness and constant inspiration and hope. It never fades its beauty, its charm never fades. In fact, it increases over time. Next, the poet says that, but still will keep a bower quiet for us and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. Okay, so in this picture, first of all, you can see a girl is resting peacefully under a shady tree. Okay, now this tree, which is beautiful, it is a true example of beauty. So, whenever we a tree always gives us a shady comfortable place to rest. So whenever we go and rest under a tree, it gives us a quite comfortable atmosphere. It gives us a very serene environment to rest. So it says that a truly beautiful thing gives us a bower. That means it gives us a shade or a shady place. It gives us a shade which is so comfortable, which is so peace giving, okay, that it gives us a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. That means it says that just as you can go and rest under a shady tree and you get a very good sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing, that means you're away from all kind of stress, tension, the chaos of the city life. So it gives you a time to relax and be peaceful. So similarly, a true beauty, anything that is beautiful, always gives you that comfort zone wherein you can forget your tension and your stress and you can relax. Okay, so it gives us that zone, just like a shady tree. Now the poet says, therefore, on every morrow are we reading a flowery band to bind us to earth. Okay. Now, when the poet says morrow, he means tomorrow or the next day. Okay. Whenever the poet says morrow, he means tomorrow or the next day. Reading as in we are binding. Okay, okay. Now the poet says, therefore, on every morrow are we reading a flowery band. Now he says, now the more time we spend on this earth, okay, every next day, every tomorrow that we are living on this earth, on this planet, we are being connected to nature. This is binding us like a flower band. Okay, in this picture you can see people have been bound together by this beautiful flower garland or a beautiful flower band. Okay, similarly it says the nature also binds us. Okay, every day beauty gives us different reasons and binds us to stay connected to life. Okay, it keeps on giving us reasons to stay connected to earth, to bind us to earth. Okay, now it says, Spite of despondence of the inhuman dearth of noble nature, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and o'er-darkened ways, made for our searching. Now see, in this course of life that we live, it's not always possible that we spend a good positive time, right? There are ups and there are downs. There are times when things don't go as per our plan. Okay, so such incidences, some of those incidences the poet has now mentioned in this poem. Okay, where we don't feel the way we should, we always are in a bit of gloomy state. Okay, so see, what are these four states? He says sometimes spite of despondence. The first state that he has mentioned is of despondence. Despondence as in depression or sadness. Okay, so the poet says there are some days of despondence, depression, sometimes of the inhuman dearth of noble nature. Dearth means lack or scarcity or paucity, whatever you call it. Okay, so the poet says that sometimes we feel the lack of noble natures, lack of good people around us. Okay, inhuman is when there is lack of humanity, when there is a lack of good characters, moral characters around us, because nowadays everybody is so selfish. They are just consumed in themselves, that they don't care about the other people, that humanity is long gone. So the poet says that lack of moral characters, that is the second incident. And third, it says of the gloomy days as in the sad days. Gloomy means sad days. Okay, and lastly, it says of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways. That means there are times when we are not healthy, as in we might be sick, we might get prey to some disease or something. So sometimes the poet mentions that days are unhealthy, and sometimes we go through over darkened ways. Again, we go through things that are negative in nature. Okay, so the poet says that sometimes in life we go through our bad phase, okay, wherein we feel depression, we are in a state of depression, we are in a state where we feel like there is there is so paucity of moral characters or noble human beings, noble people around us. Okay, and sometimes the days are extremely sad. Sometimes we are occupied with negativity around us, and we feel unhealthy and ill. So, in spite of, that means despite of all these things, despite of all these things, okay, made for our searching, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. He says, in spite of all the negativity, all the negative things that he just mentioned in the previous paragraph, in spite of all these things that we might go through in life, in spite of all them all, some shape of beauty, there is something that just comes out of somewhere. Life gives us some reason, some, hope, which moves away the pall from our dark spirit. That means which removes that gloomy part, that sad part from our lives. Okay, so it says that life is full of sorrow, cruelty, and dark days. Yet, some shape of beauty, as in beauty gives us a reason to bear with it. Okay, beauty removes that sadness and fills our life with hope. Okay, from our dark spirits, as in from our negative minds, or from our minds which are going through some dark phase. Some shape of beauty, some hope that arrives from somewhere gives us another reason to go through it or to fight through it. Okay, next it says, such the sun, the moon, trees, and the young, old and the young, sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep. Now it says, see, in the background also you can see the background looks very beautiful. Herein we can, this is nothing special. This is just the, you can say, visual image of most of our surroundings, right? So where we see trees, we see grasslands, we see sunshine, and we see animals sitting around. So it says that all these are true examples of beauty. Such is the sun. Okay, sun is one such example. The moon is one such example. Trees, old and young, some young trees and some grown trees. All of these now see sprouting a shady boon, which are always giving us a shady boon. That means they give us a shelter or a shady place. All of these things are examples of true beauty. Now it says trees, whether be it an old tree or be it a new tree, it always provides a shelter, it always provides a shade and comfort for living beings as simple as a sheep. So they don't differentiate between people or animals or anything like that. So they give a comfort, they give a peace which is accessible for everybody. Somebody as modest and somebody as simple as a sheep. Okay? So the poet says that examples of beauty are the sun, the moon, and the trees who give shade and comfort to even a sheep. Okay? Now it says, and such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. Okay, now in the previous paragraph also the poet mentioned the different examples of beauty. Now, in this paragraph also, the poet gives us some other examples that add to the list. He says that another example is of daffodils. Daffodils is a beautiful flower. You can see in the picture also. So they are. It says that this is another example. This beautiful flower is another example of beauty. Daffodils which are growing, where they are growing? In the green world they live in. So you can see they are living in the mid of a forest or any uh, densely, densely and densely covered area. So it says that they are found in such areas. So it says that this, along with this, they have also mentioned clear rills. Rills as in streams, that streams, river streams that flow between the forest. Okay. Now he says that another example of truly beautiful things are daffodils. Daffodils, where are they found? Daffodils in their blooming state, which are found in the forest, in the green world they live in, and along with that, clear streams of water that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. Now, against here means against. Okay, and which is the hot season? The hot season is the summer. Okay. Now he says that these streams, these clear streams of water, which are found in in amidst the forest, they provide a cooling place. They provide a cool place for the passers by or the people there. It provides them a cool and a resting place, okay, against the hot season. That means even if the temperature outside is too much, it's very hot, it's very exhausting, if it's the time of hot summers, in that hot atmosphere too, these clear streams of water, they provide the people, you can say, a space of comfort and a space of coolness. Okay, so it says that another examples are daffodils and clear streams of water. Daffodils which are found in the green world covered with greenery, and streams, clear streams of water which provide a cool and aesthetic place for the people to rest and feel peace even in hot conditions like that of summer. Okay. Next, the poet says the mid forest brake, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. Now it says that, see, in the mid of, as in the middle of forest break. That means it's a kind of break, you can write. It is a thick or a dense area. thick or a dense area which is covered with greenery. Okay, so a thick or a dense area found in the mid of the forest, which is rich with sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. You can see the musk rose blooms. Okay, so it says that beauty, and another example of beauty is that in a dense forest, if you see that it's a, it's totally covered with forest, even in that place there is a specific zone which is totally covered with bushes and greenery as in not the big trees, but small shrubs are growing and beautiful musk rose blooms can be seen there. Okay, this you can see as an example of a situation wherein things there are things very exhausting, where very scary around us, but in that also sometimes there is a little hope which is always to be found. So he says that the poet says that in the mid forest break, that means in a densely covered forest too, there is a area of forest which is covered with bushes which have sprinkling fair musk rose blooms, as in which have beautiful flowers of roses growing, which is again an example of beauty. Okay, next the poet says, and such too is the grandeur of the domes, and such is the grandeur. What is the meaning of grandeur? Grandeur is the quality of feeling great. Okay, it is the quality of feeling great or feeling honored. So it says that, and such too is the grandeur of the domes we have imagined for the mighty dead. So what it says that another source of beauty, what is it, is the stories, the grandeur, as in the great stories that we have heard about, the all lovely tales that we have heard or read. That means it says that another source of beauty is are the great stories and the heroic deeds of the great people who are now dead. Okay, mighty as in powerful uh, people who ruled in the time we were not there, and we have just heard about them. Lovely tales, tales as in stories. So it says that, and such too is the quality of is the grandeur. That means it is the quality of feeling great. That means another example of beauty is that feeling that we get when we hear of the tales, of the inspiring tales of the mighty rulers who have ruled over time. When we hear about their bravery tales and we hear about their inspiring tales and stories of life, that also is too inspiring for us, and it is also a, a thing of a constant hope for us, that gives us another reason to feel good about. So it is also an example of beauty. Now it says, an endless fountain of the immortal drink pouring onto us from the heaven spring. It says that beauty is like a fountain. It is like an endless fountain. That means never stopping fountain. So it says beauty is like a never stopping fountain. Okay, fountain of immortal drink. Immortal as in that never dies. That means it gives us, just as a fountain gives us water, so it says that similarly beauty is like a never ending fountain of immortal drink, a drink that gives us, the happiness, or that gives us the peace and uh, serenity that lasts forever, pouring onto us from the heavens brink. It says that it gives us that drink. It is like that fountain which gives us that drink, which brings the best of the heavens energy. Brink is the edge or the top of something. So it says that this fountain of beauty which we get, it is like uh, a constant thing, a constant hope or a constant happiness that we are getting from the heaven. Okay, so basically in these lines the poet says that all beautiful things are like an endless fountain of joy, peace and inspiration which are flowing to us from heaven, from the top of heaven. Okay, thus Keats reminds us that beauty is eternal. It always inspires us, gives us hope, and makes life worth living. Okay, so I hope you have understood the poem. Now let's just move towards the poetic devices. The first poetic device used is alliteration, that is repetition of consonant sounds. Now, first is in this example, some shape of beauty. Some shape is the repetition of letter or sound of S. In noble natures, it is the repetition of N. Okay. Now, the next poetic device is metaphor. Metaphor is an amplified simile, as in there is comparison but not directly. Words of comparison are not used. So, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Herein, beauty has been compared to eternal joy. Similarly, an endless fountain of immortal drink, that means beauty here has been compared to a life giving fountain. Okay. Now, third example is of imagery. Now, imagery, as in whenever we go through the lines of the poem, it creates an image of all those things in our mind. Okay. So these lines like trees old and young sprouting a shady boon, and then clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert meek. That means it all creates a visual image of all these things in our mind. Okay, so this is an example of imagery. Moving ahead, the next example is of personification. So personification means when we give human-like qualities to non-living things. So here, beauty has been described as a, it was said it is like an immortal drink. It gives us sleep, right? So it has been personified. That means it has been given real life qualities. So in sleep, full of sweet dreams and health, this is an example of personification. Next is symbolism. Symbolism as in sun, moon, trees and daffodils. All of these have been used as symbols of eternal beauty. Flowery band here has been used as a symbol of bond that connects us to earth, or the bond that connects humans to life. Next is repetition. The word of in of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all unhealthy ways, again and again use of the word of makes it an example of repetition. Okay, so I hope you have understood the poem. In case you have any other doubts, please do let me know in the comment section. And thank you so much for being connected. I will be bringing you such content on a regular basis, and please do subscribe to my channel if you like the content. Thank you.